attention, but we all know that no one is here just to listen to me or to anyone. We are here to support a movement, something that is happening in this country of potentially great significance. So I'd like to talk to you today about my feelings, my thoughts, what brings me here today. I'm already sort of, can you hear me down there? Not that there any way we can be louder, because I'm already on screaming mode.
This one's louder.
You okay?
Try this microphone, it's louder.
Yeah.
Move it over.
How? I think we got it. Okay. All right. To me, the slogan of the Occupy Wall Street movement should be, keep it smart, keep it nonviolent, and keep it growing. That's what I want to talk to you about today. I want to begin with giving a shout out of tremendous honor, admiration, and gratitude to our fellow American citizens who are holding the space in the geographical location of Wall Street in New York City. It's very impressive, and they need and deserve the support of people all over this country who are rising up in a similar kind of way. Wall Street has a geographical location in New York, but as we know, it is a symbol for a way that America works in too many cases, with its tentacles everywhere, in Los Angeles as much as anywhere else. And New York needs the partnership of other cities, particularly a powerhouse like Los Angeles. Our being here is extremely important. When it comes to social justice movements, it is very easy to deride them. It is very easy to mock them. It is very easy to underestimate them unless they demonstrate exactly the issues that I'm talking about here today. We are not so easy to mock. We are smart. And we are not so easy to make fun of. We are nonviolent, and we are not so easy to dismiss. We are growing. This is already October, and while it is 95 degrees here in LA, hot sun, but the cool breezes of democracy blowing, in New York City, it will soon become cold. And as it gets cold in New York, the numbers, it is reasonable to assume, will begin thinning. You and I have an important job to take up any slack in the force field, so that if the cold weather in any way makes for a thinning of the numbers in New York, LA will take it from there. And now I'd like to talk about those three categories of what it means for us to be smart, nonviolent, and growing. You know, those who would oppose a movement like this love to deride us and say that we don't really understand economics, you see. We don't really understand politics. You know, it's really great that so many women are a part of this movement, because we know that game. We have known it historically, when somebody pats you on the head and say, you know, you don't really understand what needs to be understood, so let us take care of these things. We are here today to establish firmly, unabashedly, and without apology what we do understand. And this is what we understand. And whether we can always say it in the correct economic speak or the correct politics speak, we'll say it the way we wish to, thank you. And that is this: when you have 24 million Americans who, despite their best efforts, cannot find full-time employment, this is not just about economics. This is not just about government. This is about human suffering. When you have 50 million people in the United States who, if they get sick, cannot go to the doctor, cannot take their children to the doctor, That's human suffering. When there are 15 million people in the United States whose mortgage costs more than the value of their home, that amounts to real human suffering. When you have 47 million people in the United States who, despite their best efforts, need government assistance to eat, that is human suffering. Not only does the human being, in a way that a corporation could not be expected to, register that on a human level and stand on that and stand on the fierce protection of our children and the sense that human suffering matters. When a large group of Americans rises up en masse and says to institutionalized, legalized, and legitimized forces of economic and financial injustice, government supported in far too many cases, when a large group of Americans rises up en masse and says to that, enough is enough, this is what we understand. That's democracy. Yeah. And whereas somebody might say to us, well, we understand economics, do you? We understand politics, do you? We say to them, we understand democracy, do you? Because maybe you don't understand it as well as perhaps you should. Because when you have one major political party of the United States looking at all of this suffering behind those statistics and saying, well, it's really sad, about all that suffering, but, it's not the government's job to ameliorate it. Maybe somebody could have a fundraiser and start a nonprofit and try to get rid of some little dent of that suffering. And when you have your other major political party saying, oh, we do care about that suffering, we feel it, and we will do what we can on the periphery to ameliorate some of that suffering, but we will not challenge the underlying forces that make all that suffering inevitable. The people have to take it from there. That is why we are here. We have enough statistics. We have enough information. But ladies and gentlemen, let's keep it strong. Get on the internet. Keep it smart. Listen to the great, intelligent political voices. Listen to Naomi Klein. Listen to Jeffrey Sachs. Listen to Alan Grayson, thank you very, very much. Listen to people who are articulating the facts that we need. 1% of the population in the United States has as much money as 90% of the population of the United States. You have 1% of the households of the United States controlling 24% of the income. In 1980, it was 1% over 9%. We have 12,000 households with the same money as the bottom 20 million. That is not only an immoral level of economic inequality, it is an unsustainable level of inequality. The last time we had that level of economic inequality in the United States was in the year 1929, and that was prelude to catastrophe. So we are not here without an intelligent message. Those facts alone should bring us out of our homes and make us stand here and stand firm. Now, secondly, keep it smart, keep it nonviolent. It's a hot day, and we know that. And after a certain amount of time, it sort of gets uncomfortable. You start to get a little crabby, you start to get a little pissy, you start to get a little short-tempered, you don't agree with everybody around you. One person starts to kind of just bother you. It's hot, you sort of want to go home, and you become tempted to move out of your center. In order for a movement like this, which is now in its infancy, to be truly taken care of and to truly fostered and nurtured so that it might become the huge force of social change that we wish for it to be, we need to be as self-disciplined emotionally, spiritually, and psychologically as we must be self-disciplined intellectually. It is a lack of self-discipline to just demonize capitalism, for instance. Capitalism itself is morally and ethically neutral. This is not about capitalism per se. A fruit stand where someone sells their fruit and someone gives them $1. That is capitalism. The point is that in the last 3 and 4 decades in the United States, American capitalism has lost its ethical center. what has happened here, as Adam Smith himself said, free market capitalism cannot exist outside an ethical context. It is one thing for a corporation to say money is the bottom line. Okay, Mr. Corporation, maybe within your business, making money your bottom line might be appropriate, but the United States of America is not a business. And our children's health and welfare matters more to us than money. Our children, once again, the women here, our children have no vested economic leverage. And so when the government of the United States has become, for all intents and purposes, bought, and in the absence of total public funding for political campaigns, will continue to be bought because the politicians need the corporate funders, particularly now with the Citizens United decision in the Supreme Court saying that corporations have the right to give unlimited anonymous amounts of cash to these areas, then what happens here is that an economic bottom line, not only within a business, but within an entire country, and within the extensions of that country's power throughout the world, puts economic values before humanitarian values. And that means it's okay if our children are hungry, if somebody gets to make a buck. We are here to say, no, 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 no. I'm